Hello everybody, this is Invisible UX here today to give you a review of Springboard's UX UI Career Track Bootcamp. So I've been taking the course for a few months now, going on 4.5 or 5, with a target to complete within 6. So a little background on Springboard's UX UI course. It's fully online. And it's self-paced, which means you can do it part-time, you can do it full-time, you can do it for an hour a day, you can do it for 12 hours a day, which was a huge perk when shopping around the different programs out there. General Assembly was huge consideration. It's possibly one of the most well-known, but also possibly one of the most expensive. Something I didn't want to have to do was be bound to a classroom. Obvious benefits are networking. Some people learn better in that classroom environment. Being able to ask a teacher or professor questions as they arise. It's something that's not an opportunity, that you don't have an opportunity to do with a fully online, self-paced course, which is a con for me. However, the pro of being able to take the course from anywhere and at any time and not be bound by classroom or schedule was hugely advantageous, and that's why I ended up going for it. So initial impressions, you absolutely need to have a strong sense of self-motivation and self-discipline for this course. There's nobody hovering over your shoulder, reminding you to log in, or reminding you to go to a course. You're not in a classroom setting, so you don't have any pressure to pay attention and potentially not fall asleep. You don't really have that in-person network that motivates you to go. Springboard does its best to provide its own version of this via Slack. So there are a handful of Slack channels ranging from general information about the course, TA, mentor Slack rooms, and Slack rooms organized by cohort. So how Springboard does this is they have a new cohort every month, and it's essentially like your class. But the drawback is, since people are going at their own pace, soon after you start, people are at varying levels in the program. And Springboard doesn't accommodate this by providing progress-based rooms. It's only cohort-based. So you have to do a little bit of work to reach out and find out who's at your level, who's moving at the same pace, or who's just doing the same kind of work that you're working on at that very moment. Other first impressions, it's a little rickety. It's a little grassroots, I think might be the best way to put it. The content is comprised almost entirely of web-based content that's already out there. So they've scoured the web and looked for relevant articles, relevant videos, whether they're on YouTube or other resources, and assembled them into a curriculum. So the course itself doesn't consist of any actual lectures. It's all on-demand access whenever you want to do it. Again, which goes back to that convenience factor of not being bound by a physical presence or a schedule. But the quality level of the course is dependent on the quality level of the resources that are referenced within the course. And more often than not, the quality just isn't quite there. There's many articles with misspellings, grammatic errors, and some flat out just don't feel even close to being professionally written. On the other hand, there are some really great resources out there. So it's a little inconsistent, it's a little hit or miss, but it is something to be aware of. The other aspect, which goes hand in hand with not having a physical presence in a classroom where you're meeting other students, is there are no professors, there are no teachers. You're learning everything on your own, and it's up to you to stay focused and retain the information and note any questions that you might have as you're going through the resources. To make up for this, Springboard assigns you a mentor as you go through the course. So this mentor is someone you meet with regularly, typically once a week for a half hour, and sometimes longer if the mentor has more time that they're willing to commit. This is your opportunity to ask a real-world expert anything that's come up as you're going through the information, the material on your own. It's great because it's better than nothing. You have someone to reach out to, not only ask questions about the course content, but you can work through your projects with them as well and get feedback. Now, the experience level and background of the mentors, from what I've seen, varies quite significantly. I've had 2 mentors at this point, and I should note that I'm just over 75% complete in the course. My first mentor was very seasoned and experienced and had great ideas, but he was not available often, and his feedback was very limited. So despite knowing that he had a solid background, I just wasn't able to get that information that his insights, the level of insights that I expected from the program. So I did switch about halfway through. My new mentor is almost the opposite. He is younger, less seasoned, doesn't seem to have a lot of experience in a professional environment, but is willing to take the time and go through my projects and regularly goes over the half-hour time slot for our calls. So it's a little bit of a give or take. I would suggest giving your first mentor a chance, give it a month or so to really see if there's that personality fit and if you feel like it's a match. But if you don't hesitate to reach out and ask for a new one. This is your program that you're spending many thousands of dollars on. It's your investment, so you want to utilize it as best you can. So the course content, a little bit inconsistent, sometimes not that grammatically correct. Mentors can be a little inconsistent as well from what I've seen. But your expectations may vary. I'm coming from a design background. I've been an architect for going on 15 years now, 14 or 15 years. I'm familiar with the design environment. I'm familiar with starting with rough sketches and developing those, iterating them into refined design that's ultimately produced. There are striking similarities between the process that you find in architecture and the process that you find in the field of UX. While I may be a little bit critical, my expectations may be higher than others. The beauty of the program is that it's geared towards anybody. There's a light assessment prior to being granted admission, but it's really just seeing if you have a general sense of colors, what different color combinations represent, testing a general sense of aesthetics, but it's quite broad. I think most people would be admitted into the course, and because of that, it's catering to a broad range of people. So another con that I find is that it's sometimes not challenging. I enjoy learning the new software, learning about the new field, a different field from architecture, and how things work within it. But I often feel like my critiques, the feedback from my mentors is quite light. I think, even if someone's doing great, they can always be doing better, and sometimes I feel like I'm missing that feedback. However, if someone's coming from a background, more, less creative background, like finance or even retail, it doesn't have to be some sort of professional background, they might find this incredibly challenging. So it's something that Springboard can improve in aligning mentors with the experience level of the students. This wouldn't really require a change in course structure. It would just require a little bit more work in mentor and student matching. So as I said, I'm just over 75% of the way through the course. I've been working through it very quickly. I planned on taking this time off. I planned for about 6 months of not working, saved up money to get me by, and I've treated this course as my job. I think if you're taking it part-time, they estimate it'll take 8 or 9 months to finish. Full-time is anywhere from 5 to 6, and I'm tracking right at that 6-month mark. I've had a couple things come up while I'm taking the course that have caused me to pay a little bit less attention to it, but I'm right on that 6-month mark. So I don't know how many people this video will make its way out to. It's something I've been meaning to do since the beginning of the course. I'm 75% of the way through, but I figure it's better late than never. So if you find this useful, if you're looking for someone to ask about the course, if you're considering different courses, feel free to reach out, comment. I plan on making more videos as I make my way through the final completion. And also, another significant factor of Springboard is they have a job placement guarantee. So as long as you satisfy certain minimum requirements, i.e. passing the course, passing a certain number of professional type interviews, their guarantee is you'll find a job within 6 months or you get your tuition back. So that was very important to me, especially it's July 2020 at the moment. The economy isn't doing so great, so to have that job placement guarantee is really valuable. So I'd like to continue making videos if this is helpful, especially as I complete the course and go into the job career search aspect. I'd love to report back as to how helpful this is, what kind of resources have been made available, and just report back on my general experience. Lastly, this is maybe my second, possibly my third YouTube video that I've ever made. Not edited, it's not fancy, it's just me putting my thoughts out there. So if you're looking for information, hopefully it's worked. It's probably not going to be the most design-y, interesting animated video to watch. So maybe it will get better as I make more videos. So this is an Invisible UX with my first review on Springboard's UI UX career track course. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. And I hate when people say this, but subscribe.